Good, very bright and early morning, everyone. It is 3:14 in the morning. We are here today at Greyrock Mountain to do a little bit of geology homework, as well as enjoy the beautiful outdoors. Sorry it's been a while since I've posted anything. School, man, what can I say? It takes up every waking second of my life. So, actually, that's what we're here doing today, is homework. So, we are going to look at weathering today on some igneous rocks and look at the different bits and processes of that. So that should be uber fun. Yeah, I'm really just kind of stalling now because it's cold outside and I don't want to get out of the car. Must do it to the science! Okay guys, I forgot to tell you, we got here at 3:15 and we only have until about 7 o'clock to get up to the top of Greyrock Mountain because we're trying to get a time lapse of the sunrise. So, can we make it? What was it? Well, the sign down at the trailhead said 2,049 feet, but online it said 2,549 feet, so I don't know. But it's a bunch of feet, and we only have a little under 4 hours to do it. So can we make it? Yes, yes we can, because we're already here. So I'm a little too excited about that, but I'm sorry, I'm super out of shape because I've been sitting on my butt too much recently doing homework and not out doing stuff like this. So we're gonna try to get a time lapse of the sunrise. Unfortunately, we're kind of in the middle of a cloud right now. It's hard to tell because I have this bright light on me. But yeah, we're smack dab in the middle of a really fast moving cloud. So we have about an hour until sunrise. So I'm gonna cook myself a little lunch here and read my book and chillax for a minute, and then we'll see where the rest of the day goes and start to do some science. Nom nom, gonna have some sweet and sour pork. Sorry about the shadow, cause I'm kinda stupid. Yeah, and then we're gonna make some coffee. Still got about another, well, hour and a half-ish till the sun comes up, so but we're gonna have sweet and sour pork! Yeah! Well guys, I'm real sorry, but I didn't get any kind of sunrise time lapse because we're in the middle of a freaking cloud. So since it's too cloudy to see anything, let's have a cloud party. What are you doing, weather? Please tell me what is happening. This is like the most blue sky I've seen yet. It's 10:30. Okay, so I'm looking at my phone here. That's a lot of cloud. But the thing keeps saying, there, it says mostly sunny. Well, yeah, every day's mostly sunny above the clouds. Ugh. We're gonna do some geology here in a second. I just wanna, you know, there's nothing that sucks more than climbing a mountain and then not getting to see the view from the top. Well guys, this might be the only chance we get to actually have kind of a pretty view up here, but oh man, Yeah, we're not getting too much luck with this with these clouds, but oh, look at that. That is gorgeous. So, why are we all the way up here at the top of Greyrock Mountain? Well, we are here to talk about weathering. So, this rock up here is igneous rock. You can think of rock kind of like lava ice. So when it freezes, it turns into this rock here called granite. Now, even though they call it gray rock, and it would look kind of gray from up here, the reason it's gray really is because of all this mouse stuff on it. It's really pink. And that's important because later on at another place we're going to talk about what happened to all that pink stuff after it left here. But, so basically we're going to look at these forces that break this rock up. As you're looking around here, we can see all these kind of crisscrossy lines, and all of this is basically erosion by water. So when it rains, you have little rivulets, and as you can see, some parts of the rock aren't like other parts of the rock. So here we have a nice groove of a different kind of rock. It's a really pretty chert, actually. But so as you can see, you know, you have little places where there's a little bit of difference, a little bit of variation. The water gets in there and it really starts to make some damage. Another thing that happens up here is because, as we all know, in Colorado, it can go from hot to cold to cold to hot to hot to cold. And what happens is the water will get down in these cracks like this. And when it gets down in there, it freezes. And when it freezes, it expands and it pops these bits of rock off. So as you can see, it's happening all over the place. You know, water will eventually keep eating away, and eating away until this whole chunk right here, boop, breaks off that way. Or, you know, same with all of these rocks like this. They're eventually all going to break apart into little tinier bits, and then erosional forces like wind or extreme water will you know, like if you have a really heavy rain and it's a torrential downpour, well, that can pick up those little bits of rock like that down there and carry them off. Like that. Ah, here come the clouds again. Dang it. So as we keep going down from up here, now that it's light and we can see, we'll start looking at some of the processes that shape these rocks as they move down towards the Poudre River, way down there. So yeah, really glad that I booked it so hard to be up here before sunrise for the stunning view. Another thing that will affect and weather rocks up here is life itself. So as you can see, this tree has found a little happy place to live down in here. However, those roots have to go somewhere. Those roots are going down, they're finding little cracks, and they're wiggling their way in, and then when they're in there, they're gonna grow, and as they grow and get more big, they expand and break the rocks. So this is another bit of physical weathering that happens up here. Oh, it looks like the clouds are going away for just a second. Oh, goodness. Ooh, that's pretty. Wait. Come on. I'm old. Oh, crap. Oh, that's a ways down. Oh, man. Okay, see? That's gorgeous. That makes it worth it. I guess while we still have a little bit of background, I should mention that there's another process other than physical weathering. It's called chemical weathering, but on this granitic rock up here, that's not the #1 factor. That's going to be more something that's calcium carbonate, you know, derived or based kind of sedimentary rock. This stuff, I'm sure there's a little bit of chemical weathering going on up here, but the main thing really is going to be, I mean, just look at all this nonsense. Oh man, that's pretty. But yeah, most of this is going to be basically ice, wind, and water. Kind of like a nebula is a nursery for stars. This here is the nursery for sedimentary rocks. Every sedimentary rock begins its life as part of a big igneous body like this, and through weathering and erosion, those forces will eventually get carried off somewhere else where they'll be deposited. And when they're deposited, that's when it'll end up creating the sedimentary rock, which is, you know, all the different bits and pieces smushed all together into a new type of rock. But so this, again, you can think of as the nursery, and as it keeps moving down, it kind of has a tumultuous experience. One could almost call it the rock's adolescence, so to speak. Because it's full of, you know, drops and waterfalls and all this painful, like I said, tumultuous life. And as it gets down there before it gets to where it ends up being deposited for good, that would then, you would consider it to be its adult phase or so. So enjoy this beautiful, hazy, can barely see it view of this sedimentary rock nursery. Alright, well, let's start heading back down the mountain and look at the tumultuous adolescence of a sedimentary rock. As we can see way up here on the top of the mountain, all these little rocks that have broken off and haven't made their way down are still pretty angular. You know, they're not rounded. They're very sharp edged. They got a lot of nooks and crannies, so to speak. They're definitely, this doesn't look like you just fished it out of a river. It's not a river rock. So that's going to be part of the process of going down. Is it's going to basically, you know, in a super duper heavy rain or something like that, you know, all this stuff is going to end up getting transported, and as it goes down, it bounces around like a light bulb in a dryer, just banging everything, and that's going to knock off all the edges. So up here, still pretty sharp edge. So we're going to keep moving down the mountain, and we'll see how they get smoother and smoother as we get down. Dang, man. I'm glad I couldn't see all this in the middle of the night. This is pretty creepy. So guys, this is a perfect example of that biological weathering I was talking about before. As you can see, this root has worked its way in here, and once it's in there, nothing's really gonna stop it. It'll push those rocks out of the way, and it keeps going on down. So even though the tree is dead, well, yeah, I guess that's probably not going to grow too much anymore, but still. So that's how biological physical weathering works. Alright guys, here we found basically what is kind of like a little mini depositional environment again. So we have all this gravelly stuff, and you know, it's starting to get broke down. It's, you know, as it's getting transported, it gets it bumps into other bits of rock, and it gets rounded and stuff, and that's what makes it end up getting real small like this. So what happens is the water is coming down the hill, and as it comes down, it changes its direction, and as it changes direction, it loses energy, and so a little bit of this stuff gets put down. So as it's getting transported down, if it actually physically gets picked up and kind of thrown through the water as it's traveling, that's called saltation. And it'll sit there and, you know, bounce into whatever it hits. If all the material is just basically getting drug across the stream floor or the river floor, that's called creep. So both will serve to basically keep breaking this stuff down into finer and finer materials. So that is erosion. Erosion is basically transporting weathered material from one place to another, and then as it's getting transported, still more weathering happens from getting basically smashed around into itself. Pretty cool. Nice. Alright guys, and here's our last stop here on the banks of the Cache-la-Poudre River. And as you can see, all the stuff that breaks off from these mountains back there, all of this stuff, thanks to our power gravity, ends up getting moved down into a place like this. And that's why all these rocks here, having spent so long near the water, have been nice and rounded off and polished smooth. And when this thing is in full flood, it can move boulders the size of houses. Alright guys, here we are at Bobcat Ridge, and we're going to look at what happened to all that stuff we were talking about up at Greyrock Mountain. So as you can see, this rock here, it's not the same kind of lava ice that the granite type rock was up there at Greyrock. This rock instead is what happened to all that little stuff, you know, the stuff that got saltated or creeped along. It got broken up and weathered and turned into little stuff. Well, eventually, over time, it gets what's called deposited. So this is a little bit of depositional awareness here. This rock tells a story. See all these little crisscrossy lines, and the fact that there's layers and all these different ones, that tells a story, okay? Granite rock and igneous rock generally doesn't tell too much of a story. Maybe if you're talking about pillow basalts, you know, you can say, oh, well, it was made underwater, or, you know, even at Greyrock, even though I didn't talk about it there was some evidence that there was a little bit going on there because there was some metamorphism going on. So the real story is, turns out the Rocky Mountains, they're not the original Rocky Mountains. There was some a long, long time ago. And what happened is, as those mountains eroded down and weathered down, the bits between them in the valleys filled up. And this is what it became. So you remember how that granite rock was real pink? Well, look at this, it's the same stuff. So what happens is, it gets laid down and it gets laid down and it gets laid down and 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 laid down. And then all the stuff at the bottom ends up getting smushed down into a pancake. So it's kind of like if you had a pizza. You have a pizza sitting there, and then you put another pizza on it. 2 pizzas, that's not too bad. Well then, maybe put 50 pizzas on top. I'll bet you the one on the bottom, all the oil and most of the sauce and stuff, it's gonna get smushed out and compacted down, right? Well, it's the same principle here. The more stuff you put on top, I mean, it is rock. Rock's heavy, you know. So, yeah, this is what ends up happening, and it's a process called lithification, which other me can tell you better with pictures. Pretty neat, huh? So what we're seeing here, this is called the fountain formation. And it's a formation because it's all the same kind of rock, generally laid down in the same kind of depositional area. This is cross-planar bedding. So we can see that this was laid down in a deserty type environment, or maybe even at a beach where we had tides coming in left and right. But see, this cross-planar bedding tells a story. So let's see what other stories can be told when we look at stratigraphy and a little bit of mountain building. Sounds fun. Here's a nice piece of rock. And look at it. Something is different here. Let's take a look at this. Wow. Up here, we have one style of rock clearly on top of another style of rock. So something is different. So we know a few things because of this guy, Nicholas Stenhouse. He showed how the difference between science and screwing around is basically writing it down. So there's a couple of principles here. First off, any of these layers are going to be laid down horizontally. So we can tell here that something happened. These aren't horizontal. Also, whatever's lower is going to be older because it got laid down first. And it got laid down on top of that, right? Okay. Well, there's also this guy, Bill Strata-Smith. William Smith, and he was the first guy to make a really big geologic map because he was like, hey man, look at this white looking rock on top of some red looking rock. The red looking rock has a little bit of cross-planar bedding in it, and the rock beneath it doesn't. Plus the rock beneath it, let's take a closer look. It's real sandstony, but it's not nearly as pink. Well, how come that's all super pink and that's got cross-planar bedding in it, but this doesn't? Oh, that's interesting. This is how sedimentary rocks tell a story. Obviously, the depositional environment changed. But one of the really cool things that William Strata-Smith did was he said, hey, look at these two types of rock, right? What about over there? those are still slanted at pretty much the same angle as these, I wonder if those rocks over there are set up in the same arrangement. Let's go find out. And now we're there. Teleportation. Or editing. Either. Oh goodness, it's quite windy up here today. I took a picture with the sign, I forgot what the name of it. We're by Horsetooth Reservoir, and we're up the hill from where we pointed at before. And wouldn't you know it, look here. We have that same white looking, oh goodness, white looking sandstone on top of the pink looking sandstone, and we don't really see any cross-planar bedding. And look at this, cross-planar bedding. Wow. So we've correlated the two. And that's what Bill Smith did, except he did it over much greater distances. And he went looking around and around and around and around, and he started connecting all the dots where he would see the same thing like we saw here. White layer, oh, the pink layer on top of it that has cross-planar bedding. So this is why we say that sedimentary rocks really do tell a story. Because based on just the few things around here, we can kind of put together a little bit of our own story. So we know that something was here, and then it changed. And in between, there's really no gradation, so there's some kind of unconformity there. Either nothing was deposited during that time, or what was there got eroded away. Who knows, but it changed, right? Then, based on this great big angle, we know that it was uplifted because it used to be horizontal. Since it's not horizontal, we know something pushed it up. And then we also know that even though these two areas are no longer connected, they used to be. So we can probably infer that there used to be a stream that runs there. Now it's plugged up by the dam, however. That is the story that we can put together by looking at all these different things, right? And that's what's really neat about geology. It's a window into the past. So I hope you've enjoyed today's window into the past and our super fun geologic outdoor adventures today. Again, it's pretty fun. It's one of those things you can do in your spare time just for the fun of it, you know? Read some books, collect some rocks, make sure you're really it's a reason to go out and walk around. So enjoy great, beautiful days like today, even if it is super duper uber windy. So anyway, thanks a lot, folks. I hope you had a great time, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe for more outdoor adventures. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.